Happen now if you were on the other live that I just tried to do. I tried to get the link for the live video and I tried to go post it on Instagram so people there could see it. And that worked okay. But then when I came back here, my screen had just gone blank. And apparently the people who were watching could see it, but I couldn't see myself, which, I suppose that's okay, but I don't know. I feel like it'd be important for a multi-hour stream to be able to see what's going on my screen so that I know we're generally doing the correct thing. Um, who knows how many people are going to not come back because they're like, yeah, this guy's a scrub. He doesn't know how to work a phone. But maybe someone will come, right? So we'll do the same thing. We'll wait for a moment for people to get in. And while we wait, I will get you a view of what we're doing today. Um, this is what we're doing today. Uh, we're making logos. We're making a logo. And we are set up for success. The brakes are not on for this table. They never are. Whenever I try to put things down on this table, I always have the whole thing moving around, and inevitably, that causes things to crash to the floor. So we're braked up now. We have one person and we have 0 people. Okay, that's okay. It took a second for the people to come in last time. Also, I'm realizing that my eyesight is getting worse and worse. So I was far away just now, and I had no idea what the viewer count was. It's 0. Don't worry. Yeah, so we're making these logos today, and I'm sure that we are going to have to say that a few times as people come in. Um, but we'll just go ahead and tell it to the people right now who are going to watch this video potentially later. Not live, but they'll click on it and come check it out after the matter. I did hit public, didn't I? How do I see my settings for this thing? That's chat settings. Oh, no, that's not it. All right, we got 2. I think it's public. If we have 2 people, it's public, right? What's up, 2 people? I have no idea if you were in the, now we have 17. I don't know how that works out. I don't know if you guys were in the last little live we tried to do like 3 minutes ago where I was fiddling with my phone because I couldn't see the image. You guys apparently could, but I couldn't. Which again, I don't know if that probably would have been an issue. I think I need to see what's going on so that I know that I'm framing things correctly. But this is looking better. Hello, everybody. I don't know if you can see me. I hope you can. I can see myself, which is better than last time. But we're making a logo today for a company that has a new office building in downtown Austin. And the thing about it is that we've got to make it really good. We got to make it elite because it's a nice office building, I presume. And they want a nice big logo in their new office. So, what was that? No, it was nothing. Okay. I thought I saw someone walking outside. That was kind of terrifying for a second. Yeah, we got to make it nice because, if it looks like a high schooler did it, then that would really kind of take away from the effect we're going for. And he says that as he tries to pick something away and peels up part of the plywood. That's okay. It's not the this is not the moneymaker face of the plywood that we have to have on top. So that's okay. A good woodworker knows what mistakes he or she can make. And that was one of them that I could make. So I guess I'll give you a little bit of backstory here on what happened with this project. I was approached by a company who they deal with helping other companies to furnish office spaces, that is the person, that is the company that I need to get in touch with, right? Because I don't know, I really like doing commercial work rather than residential work all the time. Because hey, what's up, Jacob? Good to see you. We got a little We got a little purple crown right there with the number 1, Big Dog Jacob. But I really like doing commercial work for a few reasons. Number 1, companies typically have more money that they can spend towards interior design and furnishings uh, than a household who is trying to put kids through college. You know what I mean? Like they have budgets for that, and their budgets are just larger. So I can be doing the same piece, like whether it's a dining table or a conference table, same size, same style, etc. But with an office building, typically the price I need to charge for that piece, a company, an office building, is more frequently able to pay that. So that's why I like working with commercial entities. The other thing about it is that, well, 2 other things. Number 1, they are typically trying to go for shock and awe. What's up, Bob? Great to see you. We got another purple crown here. Fantastic. Yeah, office buildings, especially like client-facing companies, are trying to go for shock and awe because they want people to walk in their building and be like, damn, this company's different. And again, more so than I have found individuals, families, homeowners typically do. So when they ask for these really elite pieces, that's typically associated with a longer project with a higher price tag. And that is how I have found to be most efficient. So that's number 2, why I like commercial entities. Number 3 for commercial entities is that I don't want to say that you can get away with more in terms of like when you make things, but hear me out here. If you make a dining table for a family and that is their dining table for their children's childhood and their starter home or whatever it might be, there's so much sentimental attachment to it. And I like that in some situations, but sometimes when you have so much sentimental attachment to it, you have someone who is going to get overly critical of details when they haven't paid to get themselves the right to be overly critical of details. Like they're always penny pinching and saying, that's too expensive, that's too expensive. And so you try to finally work with them until you get them something that they can afford, but then what they can afford, you have to like, I don't know, make your process more efficient so that it makes sense for your business. With businesses, like there's just a degree of separation because it's not their family household table. You know, anyway, I try not to do any corner cutting for any piece, but I have just found that homeowners can be more critical than business owners for the same piece. Anyway, that's my rant there. And I have other pieces that I'm making for this business, primarily a conference table, which they are extremely adamant about getting it soon when they have been dragging their feet all along the process of trying to get that piece going. So they might not get it when they want it because they didn't pay the deposit when they needed to. All to say, we've got logos to do today. Just one, actually. So let me tell you about the progression of what happened with that logo. They originally reached out and said, we want this shape right here, but they wanted it in a very elite style. Well, they just asked me, hey, how can we make this the most artistic possible? To which I replied, hey, we could do a live edge and resin thing. I could make it just like a table, but then instead of leaving it in whatever big shape it is at that point, I could then cut out that shape. And they loved the idea. The clients loved it, thought it'd be really, really spectacular. But then it was one where I sent them the price tag and they're like, okay, that's probably not what we want to do for this piece. Budget's not there. Said, cool, that's fine. So then I took it down to the next level, which was instead of doing live edge and resin, which is kind of like, I don't know, the longest process you could use to make a rectangle and cut that out. I said, great, we can do solid hardwood, glue up planks to planks in a rectangle, and then from that solid hardwood, cut out that shape. That would be the next tier of quality. That was still too expensive for them. And it actually was like, all right, that's fine because there's something that is for this application pretty much just as good, but we can save a whole lot of money on it. And that is doing it out of plywood. So I assume we all know what plywood is. It is a bunch of layers laminated on top of each other, smushed down with a whole bunch of force, right? And you only have the top layer. The top is typically like either a 32nd of an inch or a 16th of an inch is the actual nice wood. Everything else in there is whatever. But I wanted to make it thicker than a piece of plywood because, I don't know, they wanted it to actually kind of have some depth to the wall. So one piece of plywood is 3/4 of an inch. Two pieces of plywood will get you 1.5 inches, and that should be thick enough to actually look robust. So we have the same exact thing cut out from 2 sheets of plywood, and I'm going to be laminating them on top of each other today, and then from the back of it, screwing them together. I probably won't glue it. I don't think there's any, maybe I'll stick it a little bit of glue, maybe. Anyway, we're gonna thicken it up by attaching both of these right together, laminating it, screwing it, maybe a little bit of glue. But then the other thing that we have to address at that point is the fact that we are using plywood. So from the side, you would see all of these plies. Even though you have the top layer is this nice walnut, you're gonna see all of these plies on the inside, and it kind of takes you out of, I don't know, the idea or like the guise that this is a solid wood thing. Because what you're gonna do is we're gonna edge band it. So this is 1.5 inch thick or wide, and it's like, it's a roll, right? So I can roll this and glue this onto all of these internal edges right here, and that completely covers up all of those layers. And now we're left with walnut. So it looks, this is real walnut, it's just very thin, and it's gonna make it look like the entire piece is walnut. So that is what we're doing. Finette, what's going on? Great to see you. Happy New Year to you too. And you asked how I'm doing. I'm doing well, thank you. This is my first time in the shop since, gosh, it was like December 22nd. And it's been even longer since I've done any woodworking. So I hope I remember what I'm doing, because it's just been, well, I was on vacation for almost 2 weeks, from about like December 24th all the way to January 6th. Saw family in there up in Seattle. Then I actually went to Whistler up in Canada to do a little bit of snowboarding. So I took a good long break, and what I found in my industry is that that's actually a pretty decent time to take breaks. People right around the holidays kind of just like, we'll put off the thing we want to make until the next year. So no one's really trying to like have pieces made from December 22nd all the way to the new year. And then typically if the new year starts, they're not like, we need it on January 2nd. You have a week or two. We're now in that week or two, and we have to really get rolling on these. But yeah, I'm doing well. So I'm relaxed. Lot to do. Very excited for the new year, both in terms of the projects we have coming and also the content we have coming. Stick around for the next few days because we should be dropping the next full-length YouTube video that is on a very, very cool piece. It's also a how-to, and I think a very accessible how-to for a style that's like remarkably cool. So that's what's going on. Nice and necessary to take a break. Yes, it is. Yeah, there are. Oh, the heck was that? Huh. That is one thing that did come from the break. It was actually really like energy giving to be on a vacation, but still work on things in the business in Outer Woods that I was excited to work on. Like I knew that all the things that other people needed me to work on, they weren't pressing. And so I got to go fiddle around and be creative and problem solve on things that I was super excited about, that I don't typically get to do because I have all this stuff for all these other people. So yeah, and Finette, when you have the time, tell me how you're doing. Glad to have you here, but that's very nice to ask those questions. The other thing too, guys, we have merch now. This is one of the things that we were working on over the break. check out that hat. This thing's dope. My hair's my hair's really long right now. So I don't know how my head looks in the hat, but the hats are really cool. So it's somewhere in the description, I want to say, is the link for all the merch. And it's one where you can order it and it comes straight to you. There's no bulk ordering that we have to do. It's ready to go. We're going to get going on this because I actually do have to finish this today. And by finish it, I mean have a finish on it by today. And that is a little bit intimidating because in the past, when I've set those sorts of time restraints, it can go poorly about actually meeting those time restraints, especially when I'm doing a live, because I start talking for too long. So we're going to get going. I have really made sure that I know which way this logo is supposed to go, because I could very easily do it upside down, and that would be really bad. It's also funky because I know this is mirrored, so it's gonna look wrong to you even though you don't know what it's supposed to look like, unless you know this logo. I think this is a relatively well-known company. I'm not gonna say it in case I'm not supposed to. I don't know why. But that's the key, is to make sure that I am not doing this upside down. So this is the top. And the way I'm going to make sure I don't forget that is by putting some tape on it. And the good news is the top looks really, really clean. I don't see any issues with it whatsoever. The other thing about this is this has been a really, these are the sorts of projects you want, honestly. Jacob, what's going on? Okay, way to make it back. I apologize for whatever catastrophe that last stream was like 10 minutes ago when I couldn't figure out the camera, but we're back. Yeah, this sort of project is, you hope these come in. That's what I'll say. Because when they were first wanting me to make it, I actually thought that I was going to have to figure out how to cut out this logo. Just using my tools, having to actually trace this logo onto something, cut it out, it would have been really difficult to get super precise. When their budget kept shrinking and shrinking and shrinking, I had to get a little bit more wily and efficient with it. And basically what I came to the conclusion of is, hey, we can just go ahead and get this cut out with a CNC machine, especially when it's plywood. And what that means for me and my business is that, let's say that it's the exact same price with or without using a CNC machine. If I don't use a CNC machine, I do get a bigger paycheck into my pocket, but it takes me so much longer to actually cut this out. Whereas if I hired a company with a CNC machine, I have to pay them, and that comes out of my paycheck. However, it is so earth-shatteringly more efficient to do that that unequivocally, that's the way we're going. We have Patty in the chat. Jacob is giving everybody a warm welcome. And Jacob, yes, what am I making? I'm making a logo for a company that's going in a new office building of theirs downtown, or at least they're moving into a new office building. I don't know if it's a new building. I don't know. I also don't know if it's a high rise and how I'm gonna get this up there. Hopefully it's easy, because I also have to have a conference table that will need to go up there. But anyway, so I did not actually, with my little hands, cut this out meticulously using some massive template or doing some crazy like design and measurements. I hit the easy button and hired a CNC company to cut this out for me. Had to pay them like $500, but that is so worth it, because if I were to have done this by hand, cutting both of these, it would have taken me so much more than $500 of my labor, if that makes sense. Great. This is the top side. Blue is the top. That is the important part here. We're going to get going right into this now because we have some people here and I got to finish this. So I need this face down because I need to screw things in to the back of it. And I've put this towel underneath it because we have to really make sure we are preserving the front side of that piece. Luckily, that's awesome. The CNC people that cut this out for me, they did me a real solid and they picked the cooler side of the piece of plywood to be the front face. That's awesome. How am I going to flip this? I'd say 75% of my work is just how do I move heavy things by myself. Okay, cool. That's great. Sort our towel out. I'm also really glad to feel that the logo, even just when there's single layers of plywood, doesn't give me the sense that it's gonna break if I accidentally handle it wrong. That's excellent. So now, we just gotta line this guy up with that guy because we're going to double stack them so they're thicker. Trying to figure out how to grab it to do that best. This back guy right here, first of all, is much lighter. That's wild. Walnut is walnut plywood. I don't know how they make it different from this birch plywood that I'm holding, but man, they put some other stuff on the inside of this walnut plywood because every time I've used it, it's just so much heavier. I think I've got that situated correctly. And I'm not worried about scratching this side because that is the back. What I am interested to see is how perfectly these line up. They're supposed to be absolute replicas of each other because they ran the same CNC program 2 times. And it feels like they are very, very close, which is excellent. Yeah, I'm thrilled with that. Fantastic. So now those are positioned like that, I want to clamp them together so they don't move. I don't want to clamp the actual face of that walnut. I could right here. Let's see if I can move you. I was also informed that my camera shakes a lot on the tripod that it's on. So when I set it down, it kind of rocks a little bit. Yeah, I don't want to grab this front face that I'm feeling because that's the moneymaker face right there. So what I'm going to do is I've got this little ledge underneath my table, and I can grab both layers and basically just smush it with the ledge underneath it. And the goal is to try to make that happen without moving the panels relative to each other. I don't even think they need to be perfect, if I'm going to be honest. I think the edge banding that we'll do a little bit later can kind of conceal any of that. We could sand it if we needed to. Yeah, so as long as it's pretty good and it's feeling very, very good. Yeah, I might need to sand it just a little bit. Oh, I didn't glue it. What do you think, chat? Should I glue it? Finette, what do we got? The plywood looks fantastic. Yeah, it really does. Is it a special, more expensive kind? Great question. So these 2 pieces of plywood are different species and different qualities. The first one that is face down right now, that is walnut plywood. So everything on the interior, let's say like 92%. Who knows? That's an exaggeration. That's an estimation. Everything interior on that plywood, like inner 92%, is just, random, who knows what sort of wood. But then the topmost layer and the bottommost layer is a very thin, real walnut wood veneer. It's crazy how they make it. You have a log that is pinched on both sides and then rotated. So the log's just spinning. And they have these massive blades that are super long, super flat, and they go into it. And as the blade contacts the tiniest little sliver of that wood, it basically peels the entire log to give you thin sheets of that log. And so walnut is a nice species, and it's on top and it's on bottom. And there's different types of plywood that give you different forms of the grain, et cetera, et cetera. But that one on bottom, that's walnut plywood. This one, no one will ever see that. So this guy right here is a piece of birch plywood. And again, the interior layers, I have no idea what they are, but the topmost and the bottommost are birch. And that was the cheapest plywood that I could get at the lumber mill that sold these, that works with the CNC company that I use to create these shapes. There are cheaper pieces of plywood out there. This is actually a relatively nice piece of plywood, this birch, even though no one will ever see it, but they'll know it, they'll feel it. I know they will. Shoot, guys, do I want to put some glue? I don't think I need to, in all honesty. We're gonna have a bunch of screws, but there's part of me that kind of wants to. So I'm actually, shoot. Yeah, I am going to put glue because it's gonna help me sleep at night. As you know, time passes and this thing has been hanging on a wall for 10 years. There's gonna be one random night where I'm like, shit, what if all those screws fail? But if there's wood glue, I'll feel a little bit better. Cool. So I'm gonna take this back off after I had positioned it perfectly. And then I'm gonna go find some wood glue just to do a few dabs. But when we do that, it's gonna be go time. I can't really delay once that happens. So I need to make sure everything else is good to go. And because of that, one thing that I wanna do, I bought these screws today, and they are 1.25 inches long, and 2 pieces of plywood on top of each other is 1.5. So it won't poke out through the other side, but you're only gonna have 1/2 of an inch of screw engagement. And I think that's gonna be just fine if you consider all of the screws and the glue that's going to be involved, but I just kind of want to make sure. So what I'm doing right now, and I'll do it closer to you so you can actually see it, is I have more walnut plywood that I found in my shop from something. This is actually a router sled that I've made here. This is the exact same plywood as this. It's just old and it's oxidized, so that's why it doesn't look as fresh. And then this is, I don't know, some other plywood that's probably pretty close to the birch. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drill a screw into it, and I want to see if it feels as if it's got some bite to it. And you could do this with a really, you know, calculated and analytical benchmark test, experimental test, like with weights and everything, and figure out how heavy this is, and will all these screws hold it? I'm just going to do the old feel test. Like, does this feel strong? The other thing is I don't know if I want to drill pilot holes or not. I'd rather not have to, but let me see what happens if we just, no pilot holes, straight in. I've sunk the head of the screw beneath that so that we don't accidentally scratch the wall. Now, they're attached, which is great. This should be able to rotate because there's only one screw. There you go. We have them attached. Now, the way I'm going to be pulling this, I have a whole lot of torque, so this is kind of unreasonable. The failure point is not going to be a pullout necessarily. It's going to be kind of a drop down. Like, let's say I'm the wall, right? I'm the wall this is hanging on, okay? This is the back layer, this is the walnut layer. So the way this would fall is kind of more straight down. You know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna yank off and pull it, it's just gonna wanna go straight down. Whoa! I almost just smashed myself in the head. So this is an exaggerated test, but I'm pretty happy with that. I know that you just saw me yank it out, but are you adding the second piece of plywood for rigidity? Good question. No, the second piece of plywood is almost entirely for aesthetics. Yeah, it's pretty much entirely for aesthetics. Originally, I was going to make this piece out of, it's called 8/4 lumber, which is about 2 inches thick at first, but then when you plane it down, it gets to 1 3/4, 1 5/8, somewhere in there. And it just looks thick and robust. And so when they said, hey, that's too expensive, I wanted to give them an alternative that was also thick and robust. So instead of just doing 1 layer of plywood that's only 3/4 of an inch thick, I'm doing 2 just to make it like bump off the wall a little bit. And you know, it looks like it's more, bigger things look nicer. I don't know why. Thicker things look higher quality. Okay, back to the benchmark here that kind of worked, kind of didn't. We're gonna try it one more time. We're gonna use 2 screws though. I wanna see how much stronger 2 screws feels than 1 screw. Because I did yank that out, but I really pulled hard. And I was lifting these pieces earlier, and they do not feel that heavy. So I'm not really all that worried that screws will or won't do it. But let me just do one more test with 2 screws, see if that makes it feel good. I think it will. Because we're not even just going to have 2 screws. We're probably going to have like 20. I don't think I'll be able to. Here we go. Sorry for the bouncing around. We'll get a nicer tripod here this year, I promise. That's feeling pretty good. I think we're good, gang. I also would love to not break my router sled here, because that is a tool that I use every once in a while. So, hell, now I'm kind of going back on it, and I don't even think I want to use glue. We're not using glue. I've decided. Okay, great. Now we can get that back on here, and we can start screwing this thing down. I want to make sure I get all the debris that I just got all over this thing off, so you get real nice solid contact the entire way. I don't really care if the middle, oh, we're still down there. Apologies, gang. I don't really care if the, what's up, Rec Pinatom? Don't know if I pronounced that right. And I have been known to read things in the past that people have tried to get me with some zingers, and they have gotten me with some zingers. Rec, I'm not saying that's what you're doing. I'm just saying that pronunciation in real time, I don't always get it. So let's put this back. We're just using screws, no glue. Here we go. Can we line it up again? I'm pretty sure the answer is going to be yes. That was pretty easy. But what I was saying is I'm not too worried about the interior of the logo being super, super smushed together. It's really just the exterior where I'm going to be doing the edge banding. That's where I need it to be locked down. It's kind of hard to get this lined up. He says as he came into it saying it's going to be simple to get it lined up again. Kind of makes you wonder how lucky I got the first time. This is feeling pretty good. I could do a little sanding if I wanted to, and I probably will. I'm happy with this now. Yeah, that's feeling great. Cool. Let's get those clamps back on. Where have I put them? Here we go. Yeah, I guess while I'm doing this, I'll open it up. What's up, Tyler? Good to have you on the chat. Yeah, I'll open it up to you guys. 2026. Anyone got any goals that they're trying to get after? I mean, not trying to do some toxic thing right here or like some hustle culture bullshit, but more just like, I don't know, what do you want to do to like be more you? Like do things you're excited about. We're gonna open it up. That's the current question of the chat. If anyone wants to share, and I'll try to respond to you as I look at comments and things like that. Are you going to use a router? I'm probably not going to use a router, Tyler. I could, but I'm going to edge band everything on the side, and if I do that, I don't know, I kind of hide any slight imperfections. I'm feeling it right now, and it's like really, really flush, line to line with each other. So as long as I just kind of do an orbital sander to get some of that like grit away from it, I think that'll be good. Yeah, but I don't know if what you were asking about in that situation, was it Tyler? Was like, I think it's called a flush trim router bit. I don't know what things are called, even if I know what they do. But gang, a flush trim router bit, it's got this bearing that essentially can ride on a contour, and then the cutting blade of the bit perfectly cuts away material to whatever that contour is that it's riding on. And so if you have something like this, but the two pieces were like grossly different than each other, than one another, you could use a router to make them the exact same size and shape. Right on, Tyler's in high school. Peace out, my man. Here we go. I'm just gonna put a couple screws in to set everything right around where I've locked it down. You know what I didn't see? I didn't see if, all right, it didn't come through the top bit, so that's fantastic. I didn't expect it to, because these are only 1 1/4 inch screws, and this is 1 1/2 inches here, but things you think about. So I'm gonna go pretty close to the edge, and there's nothing that I have to miss here other than one thing, which is the way I'm gonna hang this is using French cleats. If you guys have ever heard of those, you basically put like one cleat on the back of the piece, and it'd be like this, and one cleat on the wall, and they kind of lock in and hang each other. So that's how I'm gonna hang it. I don't know where I'm gonna put those yet. Probably one like right here, and then a small one right there. But if I sink the heads of these screws, it's not even gonna like be an issue later on. So first screw, let's get it in, let's set this thing. And I'm also doing screws right next to where I'm clamping it, because if I don't, when you put the screw in, sometimes it like forces the two things apart from each other if you don't have good pressure on them, smushing them down. So I'm going to use the clamps as my smusher as I drill right next to them, locking them into place. It can't go anywhere because you got the clamps. Bada bang. And I'm sinking the head just a little bit so that we don't have any metal potentially scratching the wall. So at this point, we should be locked together because we have two screws. I'm going to take these guys off and then keep moving my clamps around to get good pressure so that I can, I don't know, just make sure there's no part of it, the two layers that are flying away from each other. Finette, I saw you were saying something. Let me come read that. Check it out. Starting to seriously try and learn woodworking. Yes, working on mosaics. That's awesome. Yeah, woodworking and mosaics. That would be a sweet combination there. Good job, Finette. That's a really cool undertaking. And if you have any questions as you go about the year, does YouTube have a way to send messages to people? I don't know if it does. I don't know, you can comment on a video or whatever if you have questions on it. I will be happy to help you along in your woodworking journey. And if anyone else here is doing the same, that goes for you as well. If you have questions, just shoot me something somewhere, and I will happily impart whatever wisdom I have onto you via comments or direct messages or what have you. And hopefully the actual videos in these live videos are helpful as well to get you started. Finette, have you done woodworking before? Or is it something where like you're starting day one, like what tool do I get day one? Yeah, of course. And I don't know how many screws I want to do. These feel like they're already pretty locked down. So I'm not really worried about like, we need to get 20 screws in here or whatever. I'm probably just gonna, every so, like, those that far apart, I have to really try to pry them to have the pieces of plywood at all separate from each other. So I think we're going to be a-okay going about that interval. Something that we'll have to do in a minute is called edge banding, because right now you can see all of the layers of that ply right there. And the edge banding shouldn't be too difficult for a lot of the places, and then it could be very difficult for a few of the places. Thomas, what's going on? Good to have you in the chat. But the edge banding will be next. We're going to knock this out real fast so that we can get to the edge banding. Because I do have a definite time I need to stop today because I have to leave to get to something. So I do have to kind of have to roll here, which is great because now you guys won't have to see as much just lollygagging. One problem that I still have for this whole live thing is that, and if you were here last year, you've heard me complain about this, but I do a lot of content creation, and it's both for YouTube, long videos, which are horizontal. That's gotten heavier. What the hell is that? And then I also do quite a few bits of content for short form videos as well. And that's both Instagram and YouTube Shorts. So when I am making things, if I think that it's valuable content, then I need to film it on both my phone camera and I need to film it on my DSLR camera that goes side to side. The issue is when I've got both of those things running, that leaves me no recording device to then do live videos on. So I'm still sorting out exactly how I want to do more live videos because they're really fun. I actually really enjoy them. But then also have both the recording devices I need to be able to take the footage of the things for, the shorts and the YouTube long form videos. Today, because this isn't the most crazy project ever, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do this with a live video. I'll use my phone. I'll have it vertical. I'm not worried about trying to capture this for a long form YouTube video. I didn't really think that was super necessary, which is why we're doing this project right now. But we have so many projects coming up that are extraordinarily interesting. And unfortunately, I have not figured out how to use the camera use my phone, get the short form, get the long form, and get live videos. I think we're just going to have to get another camera or something. That's probably the move. But money's tight running a business, you know what I mean? Let's get you a cool view here. How we doing, everybody? You've been doing it for a while. Oh, cool. Okay, right on. No, the key is to make mistakes, Finette. Nice. Following a course online. That's excellent. Perfect. Okay, great. So you are well on your way then, it seems like. All right. Is this a cooler view? Maybe? These guys are kind of in the way. Let's put you here. Yeah, that's the view. Bang. I have a feeling there's going to be one day when I'm doing a live video and I'm going to try to be like talking, which kind of inherently takes my focus away from what I'm doing. And then when that happens, I'm going to make a mistake that could be catastrophic. And I'm wondering if when that happens, you, the viewers, will be able to see it and react to it in real time before it happens or before I recognize it. That'd be both fantastic from a content perspective, but then also terrible from a high-end woodworking perspective. All right. This is feeling very robust now. Let's go to the other side. I still have a few right here. I'm just going to kind of use my body weight to smush them together. Right there. Joe Mama. That's what I'm talking about. What up, dude? Happy New Year to you, bud. Get in there. You really have to throttle. I don't want to accidentally like give it too much gas and have it just blow through the other side. You know what I mean? Finette, how did you learn your woodworking skills? That's a good question. So I used to be an engineer. So I think that there's probably a bit of, I don't know, just general like intuition about how strong something's gonna be or how much force something's gonna have, like that sort of stuff. I was lucky enough to get a little bit of a head start with some of that from my engineering background. But then when I got into woodworking, I was making every mistake possible from a woodworking perspective, like actually creating shapes and features with tools. Like, yeah, Happy New Year, big dog. I was making every mistake known to man when it came down to like actually working the wood into the shapes that I wanted them to be in. So the way I learned, quite honestly, was just a bunch of trial and error and just starting with super small pieces. And like even with the small ones, biting off more than I could chew, but having the consequences of making mistakes not be dire or catastrophic. Like at the beginning, I was not taking custom work. I was essentially just like making pieces and then selling them for a very, very inexpensive price, knowing that the design and the art was cool, but my execution of it was really bad. But selling it for a price where it was like, hey, I recognize that the quality's not there yet. That way, people can decide if they want to buy it or not, and you're not like, I don't know, making a piece that someone has already bought from you, and then they can be upset when it's not the way they thought it was going to be. So yeah, bunch of trial and error. I actually don't know if I don't remember watching a whole lot of YouTube about woodworking. I had done a little bit when I was a kid, like you know, with my dad or whatever, but it was all, none of it was like high-end pretty stuff. It was all just, hey, we need to put some 2x4s beneath this deck or something like that. If you've noticed, I've completely given up on the clamps. I'm now just using my body weight to smush them together. And it's working just fine. And the alignment's still great. Maybe a little bit squished over here, but I think that's more of an issue of they're not quite the same size rather than we've aligned it incorrectly. This thing's about to get really heavy, by the way, which I'm actually a little bit nervous about, but that's for future Tanner to deal with. Yeah, I'm getting fantastic compression just by putting my weight on this, so that's going to be a-okay. Yeah, so Finette, that was a very long-winded way to say I just made a lot of mistakes, looked up videos when I needed to know something really specific. I think the main thing, though, with any craft, and like especially woodworking, just because I know it, is the way you learn is I think you try to find a style or like a type of piece or just something you really want to make. And you work backwards to say, okay, if I want to make that piece, these are the techniques that I'd have to learn. These are the tools that I'd have to have. And if you can get to that first step and like, oh, I just need that one tool, great. You're right there, go get the tool, etc. But if you need to keep taking steps back until it's like a really, really early version of that whole thing, you just do the first step that you are able to do that will one day lead you to the type of piece you want to make, if that makes sense. I know that there's at least one of you in the chat right now, assuming you're still here, that's going to love this reference, but this is how I think about it. I am a massive fan of the game Minecraft, right? I bet you if you're in this chat, people, all of you, you probably have that Minecraft mind as well. Otherwise, I don't think you'd be looking at a YouTube, a woodworking YouTube channel. But someone called me. I need to turn it on Do Not Disturb so that doesn't happen. Let's say you want to make something epic in Minecraft. Here we go. And let's say it's like, I don't know, some floating palace, right? And you're like, okay, to make this floating palace, I need an insane amount of this material. Let's say it's some rare material. That's like the step right before the palace. Then what you'd have to do is you'd have to be like, okay, what do I need to make in order to go collect that material? And let's say that it's like a really nice tool that requires a different material. And you can't make that yet. So you have to just go down the line until at the very beginning, you can do the very first thing that gets you on the path towards that thing that you want to make. You know, that's my Minecraft reference that I always think about. I'm going so slow right now because I'm talking about Minecraft or whatever else. Also, I'm going slow because, I don't know, this piece feels too easy. Knock on some freaking wood. True. Joe Mama, thank you. I think I was talking about this earlier, but this type of piece is like, right now, I wouldn't say the dream piece that I'd want to do it forever, but you really love when these pieces come in because they're so easy and they pay you efficiently that it frees up your time to do the things you're more excited about but don't pay as well. So this sort of stuff is fantastic. Does it like make me thrilled and get me out of bed super early because I'm so excited to go make this M? No, but it affords me the luxury of being able to do pieces that I'm more excited about that don't pay as well. Like making YouTube videos. because those take so long and they are not paying well yet, gang. Yeah, let's just say if making YouTube videos was custom work that I was doing, I'd be working like 40, 50 hours and getting paid like, golly, I don't know, $2 an hour, maybe. We'd be out of business if all I was doing was that. So we got to make ends sometime. Ow, that hurt. Someone's saying something in the chat. Okay, yeah, makes sense. So I don't have that reference. Hey, that's okay. If you're not a Minecraft junkie like I am, that's probably okay. Basically, in Minecraft, you make things, and to make things, you got to have a lot of materials and cool tools. And to go get those materials is difficult, and you got to kind of work through a progression of tasks and steps to get those tools, which is a lot like what I'm doing in this business. Okay, that's looking great. I think we just need one up here. And then just a few on this outside edge. And that'll be great. And we can go on to the next step, which will be really interesting. And is going to use a tool that, if you don't know woodworking, you might be surprised that that's the tool I'm going to use. Remember how I said I wasn't going to use very many screws? Something I find kind of like, I don't know, I guess interesting, is the fact that I've never done this exact thing before. And like, I think that I've thought through everything and made sure that we're not going to have any weird things come up. But I might, because I've never done this one before. So I always wonder if there are people in the chat who are looking at this, and I know there are on the internet. I get comments on it all the time. But I always wonder if like someone who really knows what they're talking about is like, that's not what you're supposed to do here. I think it is. I'm like 97-ish% sure that this is exactly what I should be doing. But there's always that, you know, small percent. Okay, let's get you a good view of this because I'm going to try to flip this and it's going to be twice as heavy. Here we go. It's going to be more robust though, which I do like. No, it's not terrible. Okay. Okay. So the next thing that we need to do is, we got to edge band this thing. So I was showing you guys at the beginning, but there weren't very many people here at that time. So here's what we're doing. Right now, kind of looks like the Wilson logo. Kind of does, doesn't it? That'd be sick if I was making something for Wilson. Unfortunately, I am not. Joe Mama, you have a yeah, we're gonna show that comment. Yeah, we can show that comment. YouTube, I guess, tries to censor things, and for whatever reason, it tried to censor that comment, but we're gonna put that up there. Why not? Yeah, so we've got this nice walnut face on the front side of the logo. And if I was a more lazy woodworker, I would call it good right here. But the issue with doing that is that if you look on the side, you can see that this is not nice walnut like the top. And you can definitely see that there are two pieces of plywood here. So I have something called edge banding, which is actual walnut wood that they have somehow, I don't know how, milled into thin ribbon strips. Not only that, they have done something very nice for all of us, which is they have added, hold on, they have added heat-activated glue to the underside of this. So you warm this guy up, and then you can wrap the side of anything, and it looks like more walnut. Now, if you are a real deep in it woodworker, you'll be able to tell that it's an edge-banded thing because all of the grain is going this way in the sheet, and so you'd see end grain right here. This is basically edge grain, and so you can look and be like, okay, that's not how wood acts, but to 99% of the people walking by, they would never think that, and to 100% of the people, it's going to look like, oh, that's nice, that's nice, it's wood, it's all wood, it's wood. So the interesting tool that we have to use is this guy right here. This is a clothes iron, and I borrowed it from my parents this morning. They don't know that, but I did. I'll take good care of it, Mom, if you're out there watching. We got to heat this up. I don't know how hot to make it. I assume it'll just kind of reveal itself to me that that's hot enough, and it melts it. So I'm plugging in an extension cord, and then we're going to plug in the iron. And I've got to figure out how to use this particular iron because I don't need to iron my clothes for work every day. I don't really use an iron all that often. Okay, what the hell's going on here? Let's not do steam. I don't think I'd have to press anything there. Chat, help with iron. Let's, max is over there. I think we're on max. I think this is gonna get pretty hot. Ooh, it's getting there. Yep, it smells hot. Okay, cool. While that's going, I'm going to just real quick, for the hell of it, hit some of this just with an orbital sander. If I can find one quickly. Hello. Oh, they're down here. I did a haphazard cleaning of the shop the day that I left for my holidays, and I don't know where anything is right now. But we've got a sander. Whatever grit that is what we're gonna do. Finette, thank you so much for being here. Happy New Year to you. Okay, yeah, great. You'll watch the rest later. Fantastic. Hopefully we get it done. We'll see. But yeah, Happy New Year, and thanks again for all your insightful comments. We're plugging in a new extension cord. Gang, there is a mess of extension cords over here. I'm just gonna start plugging things in, and we're gonna see if they work. What if we just plugged everything in? That's the move. And then whatever end we find will work. Perfect. Okay, and I don't need to do much. I'm just making it to where it's not like super, super rough. So. Yeah, that's good. Excellent. There are going to be some parts of this that I don't know if I'll be able to get, but you know. Yep, that's fine. Great. Yeah, those internal features are going to be the hard parts. And like this in here. You know what I could do? I could probably get it with like like some hand sandpaper, like the pilgrims used to do, you know? There's one other part right here that I'm just kind of realizing we'll have a slight challenge with a little bit later, but we'll get that later. How's that view? This thing kind of feels like a cat tongue. Or, you know, no, that's not right. Cat tongues are just universally rough. A snake is what I'm thinking of. If you go one way, it feels fine, but then if you go the other way, it doesn't feel fine. So we got a snake on our hands here. Terrible view. Yeah, I'm going to hand sand the inside bits. I suppose. I mean, I could leave them. It's not that rough. And I think the edge banding would still stick. I think it's mostly just that I would feel more confident that the edge banding will have no issues if I sand it well. Something that I always find interesting when I look at plywood, I'll see if you can see it. It's kind of hard to see, and we're gonna be bouncing all around. Is when they make plywood, they just smush the ever-living shit out of these layers. Oh, you can't really see it. Hold on. And they smush whatever is in there. And so I don't know what that thing is, but you can see that it just got smushed in there, and it didn't even matter that it was more stuff in there. It just smushed it, and it's still just as flat. I don't know. I always find that very interesting. I have no earthly idea with how much force they smush this plywood with, but it's a lot. It smushed me. That's for damn sure. Okay, we're almost done sanding. I'm stalling. I wonder if I can get those inside bits mostly with this guy. How do I want to get this? There we go. Perfect. I feel pretty confident about the structural integrity of it now that we've got 2 pieces of plywood. Oh, you can't see straight up anything. I apologize, gang. There you go. Okay. Now, how do we get this inside? I do feel as if I don't really want. There's that thing. I've got a little support guy over here. Going over here. So plywood's really cool because when they laminate all the different layers together, they crisscross the grain so that, oh, I'm pitting. It's early January and it's like 80 degrees where I'm at. So yeah, apologize for that. But they crisscross the layers of plywood. Oh, that's already at the right height. Let's go. And so plywood is what you would call dimensionally stable because you don't have any one prevailing grain direction. And when you have one prevailing grain direction, it can move relative to that grain direction, but all the layers are crisscrossed, and so there is no one way it can move, and all the layers are so thin that they have no like meat to them. I don't know why I was telling you that, but there you go. We're gonna lift this up. Okay. Oh my God, the iron. Okay. How long can you leave an iron on before it starts to get dangerous? Oh, we can totally fit. Getting horrific views here. Okay, that's good on the inside here. That's good there. So it's just in here now. Can I get there? Oh, I can get there. How do we get there though? We'll go to the other side. Ow. I need to keep an eye on the time because again, I do have to. Is that 1? What's that say? Oh, it's 1:30. Guys. No problem. I think we'll get a finish on this thing. We kind of have to. That's kind of a non-negotiable, actually. Okay. Oh, let's get that over there. That's good that it's. They didn't ask me to put lights behind this thing, but it'd be a lot cooler if there were lights behind this thing. Let's get you raised up here. Okay, that's as high as you can go, I suppose. Bang. Okay. Then I do have to check what grit this sandpaper is so that I can get the appropriate hand sandpaper. Oh, we'll get there. Sandpaper, where are we at? Here we are. I'm going to guess that was 150, just by the way it felt. Let's see how good of a woodworker I am. Oh, it's 150. Let's go. Let's freaking go. So I only need like right in here. And I hope that is not too steep of an angle for my edge banding. I guess we will see. I also hope I bought enough edge banding. I think I estimated correctly, but who knows? Okay, this is the part in here that I'm wondering if we'll have a little bit of an issue with, because the CNC machine, it has a circular bit on it, right? Or cylindrical, I guess. And because you have whatever radius that bit was, audio cut out. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was getting a phone call from the same person twice. It's probably okay, right? So yeah, instead of this coming to a really, really sharp point, it's a 1/8 inch radius, which is fine. You can't really tell, or you wouldn't be concerned about that if you saw it. But I don't know how that's going to look with the edge banding because it is so crisp. But I think we're pretty good. I'm happy with the sanding here. So let's get now to edge banding. We'll do this side first. Do a nice big flat side first, just to show you. Ow, my fingers. What I'm doing. We'll give it a practice run here. So, okay, there it is. Here's the edge banding. So, using the iron, and I'm just going to iron this on that long edge. I could probably, trying to think how I want to do this. I don't do a whole lot of edge banding because cabinet makers are the ones that do most of the edge banding. And I don't make cabinet. I don't really work with plywood that often, if I'm going to be honest. So the thing about it is they give it to you. That's huge. Damn. They give it to you oversized so that when you put it on, you can trim it to be the exact height of this. Now, the question is, how am I going to put that on the edge without, are these good scissors? These are terrible scissors. All right, we're just gonna get all the scissors. I'm gonna cut it about to the correct length, a little oversized. It's gonna take a little bit of trial and error. I hope I got enough to make a few mistakes, because I'm about to make a few mistakes. How long do you need to be? I'll go the other way. I'm gonna try also to not catch the shop on fire. Okay. Good, that cuts well. That's helpful. All right, can we see? We can see. It's probably, I think there's a tool that trims edge banding. I don't have it, that's for damn sure. But I feel like if I made it flush up here and trimmed it on the bad side, that's probably the move. I'm trying to figure this out in real time, gang. We're just gonna try it. The only scary part here, I guess two things. Number one, I could run out of edge banding. So maybe I should have done this on a smaller side so that if I made a mistake, I didn't waste such a big piece. That's okay. Yeah, the issue is if I make a mistake on the top face, I could find myself in a situation where I accidentally mess up the top veneer of the plywood. And that is the scary thing about plywood. With normal wood, if I make a gouge in the normal wood, guess what? Underneath it, there's more normal wood. But if I make a gouge in the top laminated layer of plywood, there is no more of that underneath it. And so I don't know what cabinet makers do when and if that happens. So you can see that I'm activating the glue, and now all of a sudden, that edge banding is sticking without me having to hold it. And there's probably some magic amount of heat to apply. Don't want to go too little heat, don't want to go too much heat. And I don't know where I stand right now on that. It dries pretty quick. It's not like regular wood glue. Like once it's cool, it dries. So I'll be able to sand this in just a moment here. I think we're doing fine. I don't know how I'm going to remove the excess from the bottom. But I think I'd rather have to remove the excess from the bottom than the top. You know? And I think I'm going to switch out my sandpaper to 220 grit instead of 150 so that I'm really, really not taking off much when I'm sanding. Because you can like easily sand through the veneer, especially on the corners when you're kind of biting into it more. How the hell am I going to remove that? Okay. So that's on there now. But how do I remove this bottom? there's a tool that I don't want to have to use. Because that would be, no, that'd be a pain. I could use a router and then like flush trim router bit this excess to that exact spot, but I'd have to ride the router right here, so I don't want to do that. I could try just like a razor blade. We're gonna see. This is one of those times when it'd be fantastic if there was a wizened old woodworker in the comments who was yelling at me about what I was doing incorrectly. So here's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to use this piece of, you can't see any of that, can you? I'm going to try to use this piece of wood right here. It's actually kind of heavy. I wish I had something lighter. We're going to go with this. I'm going to use a piece of wood. I'm going to put it behind this, and then I'm going to try to, with my razor blade, cut from the other side and see if I can kind of cut it onto this like cutting board, essentially. That's what we're going to try to do here. We need a little more room. Ow. I don't know how I'm going to do that for everything, though. It's going to be tough. We'll put you over here. Sorry for the wobbling. Okay. Can you see? You cannot see. Oh, there we go. Oh yeah, there's the view. That's the view. So this is what we're trying to get rid of right here. See all that? Let's see how well this works. Feels like it could be working, but I think my razor blade's really dull. Oh, okay, that got through. All right, might have to take the hat off. We'll put it right there for some product placement. Hell yeah. Oh. Right here. There's the product placement, gang. I think this is gonna work. I don't think this is what you're supposed to do, but I think it's gonna work. And we can always sand it if it's not perfect. I just need to get the majority off. I also don't know. Maybe if I just get it started. I don't want to do that. The grain might not be going quite the right direction to. That's working. How are we doing? All right. We're doing all right, it looks like. This is going to kind of be a little tedious. Oh. Okay. Excellent. It worked. Yeah, there you go. Ow, that kind of hurt. That angle wasn't fantastic. So now what we'll do is, sorry for the wobbling. Here we are. Okay, now what we'll do is I'm going to put on some very, very fine sandpaper, some 220 grit right there. And then I'm just going to kind of roll over the edge very, very gently. In fact, no, I'll do it with this. I was thinking, do I want to do it by hand? Maybe I want to do it by hand. And then just real light on top go over it. Because if I do it with my hand, I'm going to get these streaks going this way. But I could just go over that on top. So that's what I'm going to do. All right, that looks good. Great. And you really don't want to go down too deep because this is where you'd accidentally sand through your walnut veneer, and you'd get to that second layer, and I don't know what color the second layer is. It looks like it's not dark. And the issue there is you'd see it very clearly. And I'm seeing that there's just a little bit of glue that I'm having to kind of work through right here. That's okay. Okay, awesome. So that's feeling good. You want to be able to do this with your real hand and not have it like give you splinters. So then same thing on the underside. I can be a little bit more aggressive on the underside just because you can't see it. That is feeling pretty good. Awesome. Awesome, that feels fantastic. So now, I mean, like, you can see over here, you'll be able to tell later better when I put the finish on. But you can tell that that looks so much more, I don't know, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's like, what is the word that I'm looking for? Everything's working together. It's not like, oh, you got two plywood sheets stacked on each other. It's now more like, it just looks like one big wooden M. Now I'm cutting off the little bits of excess on the end, which is proving to be more difficult. I don't know why. I think it would really help if I had a sharper blade here. Okay, that did it. And same thing. Where's my sandpaper? There it is. So we can just awesome. Yeah. I tip my hat to cabinet makers. They have to do this all the time, and it's just tedious. Very tedious. Okay, to the next one. And I kind of want to do it this time to where I'm only cutting off excess in one spot. Oh, I haven't cut off the excess over there. Perfect. Have this just overhanging. It's probably okay, but why not put this thing down? I don't know if you are able to tell when I am more like cognizant and focused on what I'm actually physically doing rather than talking, because I don't say anything or I say really stupid stuff or like very, pointless things. It's kind of what's happening right now. Ah. And again, ow, 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 ow. You can kind of move it around just a little at the beginning. having to do that. There we go. Yeah, cabinet makers are doing what I'm doing right now every single day so much quicker and probably better than I am doing it. And I could see the appeal of that, of like finding pleasure in just being super meticulous. However, that is not where your boy has found his niche. Because cabinetry, it's like the thing with it is that quality in cabinetry is the ability to, fuck, that's hot. Apologies for the language. The ability to knock out hundreds of details perfectly every time. And again, I would prefer to knock out like 20 details to that level, but then be carried by the uniqueness of a design. Cabinets, it's typically like your design's not crazy, but you're rewarded for, your execution. Okay, that's pretty good. Let's get you down here. Am I missing anything in the chat? No? All right. I'm just talking. Let me see if I can find a better razor blade. That's got to be helpful. Okay, I've got new razor blades. Right? Yeah, these are new. I'm hoping that I can actually, does that look any better? Gang. I'm trying to get some better razor blades. Can I use the old razor blade to cut the package open for the new razor blade? That's how you know it's not a good razor blade. It can't open the package to get the next razor blade. Okay, here we are. What kind of witchcraft? Whoa, that's cool. Look at that. All right. Do I even need that, or can I just hold it? All right. That is so much sharper. Wow, that was crazy. Okay, that was the move. Oh, come on. Come on. There we go. Cool. That was great. All right, we're back. We are back. Let's see if we can get that a little closer. It does really hurt my finger to do this without a thing, though. Did we get that over there? That's what I'm talking about. Okay. Great. And we are just going to, oops. It's a little rougher on the bottom. I think I did it quicker and it cut so much smoother that it like cut wherever it's a little rougher, so I'm having to, okay, hold on. It does feel as if I might need to glue this guy maybe a little more over here. Like maybe I didn't quite get it hot enough. That's feeling pretty good. Oh! Okay. A little on the top. And remember, if you go too deep, you will sand through the very, very thin walnut veneer on top. That is not what we want to do. That's like kind of the biggest way that I can mess up this piece. Can you see what I'm doing? Kind of. You gotta sand the corners. Yeah, it feels like right here, maybe I didn't quite get it hot enough on bottom. Bleh. That's feeling better. Okay. Cool. That's 2 of the sides. Here we go. We'll just keep going. How we doing, chat? Anyone? Anyone, any questions? No? All right. Just gonna keep rolling. Oh, I do have to. I've got like 2 hours until this needs to be done. And we got to pick it up. I think we're going to make it. Now that we're flowing, the last part is going to be pretty easy. I know exactly what I'm doing there. I'm cutting off the end here. Cool. That feels like it might need a little more glue, but I can do that in a minute. Man, I really hope that I bought enough of this stuff. That'd be a real bummer if I had to halt production today. How did I do? Just fine. Okay. Let's get you right on it. Bunch of stuff down here. We're gonna get you right on this. Oh, that's the view right there, gang. Where's my iron? Oh man, got some cord issues. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I don't have a fantastic way yet of setting this, other than just kind of using my leg. Like this is what the cabinet makers would know exactly how to do. And here I am, stumbling my way through it. Oh! Once you're kind of set on it, though, it's much easier. We're not set on it yet. Can you see it? Oh, you can see it. That's a great view. It's a National Geographic caliber view right there. National Geographic, if you're watching this, we'd love a sponsorship. I think we're set now, which is good. It's really interesting. You know how every place you go, especially if you go there frequently, it's got a smell. So the lumber store that I go to, it has a smell, and the lumber mill that I go to has a smell. The office does, at least. And this is the first time I've ever bought edge banding from my lumber mill. And up until today, I've just assumed that, I don't know, I didn't know why their office smelled like it did. The smell that I'm smelling, like this probably melted glue, is the smell of their office. And I know everyone was dying to know that exact fact right there. And so, you're welcome. 2026. We're going to be sharing with you all the information you're dying to know. Like why my lumber mill's front office smells the way it does. I imagine a cabinet maker would also know much better than I would how much heat to apply. You know, I also bet you a cabinet maker, I know this actually, cabinet makers have, like the big dog cabinet makers at least, they have machines that edge band things for them. They're probably not stealing their parents' iron. And slowly, painstakingly ironing on edge banding. I saw a comment. Yes, Joe Mama just snagged his dad's gumbo pot. Joe Mama, I don't know if that's in response to me saying that I snagged my parents' iron or if that is unrelated. Oh, shoot. Hold on, gang. All right. That's a bummer. That's on the top of it. Oh, that's a real bummer. I think that'll go away. Right here, feels like I just dragged the corner a little. When you start melting the glue, what happens is that you can accidentally pull your entire strip. And feels like maybe I pulled it just a little that way, so there's like a really, really minuscule gap right here. I'm gonna sand it and see how it looks. If it's not too bad, I'm gonna be okay with that. Part of the reason I'll be okay with that is because this is on the top corner, which is gonna be 10 feet in the air. So I can't imagine anyone's gonna be too bothered by that, because I don't think anyone will ever see it. And this is so sharp, which is wonderful. Ah, it hurts though, man. Because I'm just using my finger. We're making progress though. Okay. Okay. Look at that. There's the excess. While we're down here, might as well get the excess right here. Oh. Ow. Perfect. Okay. Pretty good. Let's, we got no comments. You guys are making my job easier today, not having to respond a whole lot. Maybe I've just got, oh, there's only 27 people. That might be why. Let's see how. It feels pretty. I think we're going to be able to. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it's totally fine. Awesome. All right. Remember, we don't want to take off too much on the top because that veneer is so thin. You know what I mean by that? Like if you started going at the corner, like if you're sanding this big flat surface, it's kind of hard to like go through stuff very quickly, but you can sand over a corner much easier than you can sand through a big, large, flat surface. And so I'm really cautious right now when I'm sanding this corner, not to take off too much on that top veneer. Just enough to basically get off the glue and take a tiny amount of that bite away. I'm both looking to see if there's any spot where it's like, oh, look out, I see the first little inklings of the veneer getting too thin. And I'm feeling it to make sure that the moment that it's smooth, I stop. That's great. This is looking great, guys. The bottom I'm not concerned about because that's on a wall. Let's make sure we don't burn the damn table or the logo with the iron. That'd be stupid. I don't even need to, like, I'm just trying to make sure on the bottom that there's no lip that would catch on something, you know? That's the main goal there. Like, no one's ever gonna feel that or see it. Okay, that's great. Okay, this one, I'm gonna do the opposite way. I'm gonna start it in the, I'll get you a better view in just a second. Let me finish this part right here. Where's that razor blade? Nice. God, that's so sharp. Having sharp tools really does help. That's so sharp. Excellent. Okay. Here's what we're going to try with this. That's all the way in the corner. Great. All right. Let me get you a better view to show you why this is just a little interesting. Cool. Here's what we have going on. Oh, how am I going to do that? How do I get in there? Huh. All right, gang, we got a couple interesting conundrums here. I don't know how I'm going to get my iron in there. Probably going to have to melt it and then smush. Yeah, it's going to be tough. All right, we're going to go for it. If it doesn't work, it's all right. So, how? Huh. See if just putting it on there. Like, I don't think I can get that. No, I can't get that deep at all. How hot? Ay, that's hot. I'm hoping that I can get it hot enough, just kind of like this. And I can't push on it because then that's the glue, you know? It looks like it's melting for sure. And you got to do the whole thing in one go. Like at least as far as the iron can't get to. Sorry, this is not the most exciting thing in the world to watch right now, but I'm having to melt the glue just kind of in thin air in the hopes that it stays hot enough, long enough for me to smush it in there. I don't know how far back can I get? Yeah, it's so hot. I feel like if I could get the whole thing, the whole iron, heating up this strip right here, that would suffice. I just don't know how else to do this. I mean, I could just like super glue it, but I don't think that's gonna. All right, we're gonna try it. Get in there. Oh, that's hot. I can tell you that much. Okay. Yeah, it just doesn't feel fantastic. I don't know how to get it hotter though. Like I'm sure I could heat something up and like some flat piece of metal. I don't know. Like how do you get in there? I wonder. Oh, I can kind of get in there more like this. That's helpful to at least get the highest part of it. I assume the tip of the iron. This is a horrific view right here, gang. Didn't think about this one. If you're just tuning in, here's what's going on. We're trying to put this edge banding on this logo, and it's heat activated, and my heat is coming from this iron, but this iron can't really get into this deep corner right here. Oh, what happened? So like, what happens if I try to heat up? Okay, I'm gonna try to heat up maybe the razor blade. Oh, that's hot. That's hot. All right. Look at that. Heat transfer. If I can heat up the razor blade, maybe I can transfer that heat into it right there. See what I'm doing? Ow. God, that's hot. It's definitely hot. Yeah. I might just have to be like, I get it the best I can. Oh, there you go. Now I can get kind of in there. Oh, that's good. I'm melting some glue now. I just can't get that last little bit. Can you see? You can't see a damn thing. Can you see better there? Yeah. Oh, I think we got it. Oh, no. I think that's going to have to be good enough. And then, whoa, look out. That might just have to be good enough. All right. What I'm hoping is that when I sand this, it's going to kind of get some sawdust and just kind of nestle in there. And then the sawdust, when I put a finish on it, the finish will kind of get into the sawdust, into the little gaps. And hopefully, the sawdust and the finish, oops, will just sort of meld into a little, I don't know, sawdust glue. And, oh shit. How do I cut that? Yeah, that's gonna be as good as I can get it. The good news is, that's a very, I don't know, it's really in there. And it's not like a table where it's gonna get used every day. So if I can just get it to kind of stick and hunker down, that should suffice. Very gentle on this sanding up here. That's gonna be just fine. Okay. Great. Great. Now we cut off the end. Okay. Should be able to sand that, and we are making some great progress. What's our time? Okay. 2:30. How's my phone battery doing? It's okay. Feeling good. I'm not too worried about this next contour, this guy over here that I'm about to do. Well, I say that. I have to do the whole thing in one band. That'll be interesting. That's feeling pretty good. I think the band, yeah, the band should, it should be able to bend plenty and not break along that curve. Great. All right, here's what we just did. I still can't see it. There you go. Can you see that all in here? Sorry for the wobbling. Oh my God, the wobbling's terrible. So yeah, we just edge banded all of this. That feels really good now. What we have to do here is we have to edge band this entire curvature. Yeah, what's up, Granite? Granite, am I saying that right? Granite 1482. How are we doing? Good to have you in the live stream. You have come in at a time when I had to sort of sort things out for a moment, so the commentary was a bit lacking, but we're getting better. I'm thinking out loud here, everybody. We have the same issue. You can't see it. We have the same issue on this internal corner right here. That part's going to be really difficult to heat up and put in there. And we have to do this entire curve. My goodness. First, I just want to get the correct amount. We have to do the entire curve, and I'm trying to figure out which side I want to do this from. Get the hell in there. Okay. That's pretty good. Okay. Okay. Goodness. All right, let's see if I cut off enough. So we got to do this whole curve. I think I have to start it from the corner. Yeah, you have to. I cut off, thank goodness, I cut off enough. You got to start it from the corner. Okay. Oh, that's going to be tough. It didn't feel like, no, it did. How far in here can I get with this? Okay, I can get to like right there. So I gotta get like that much going. So I'm trying to melt it before I typically, geez, this is so difficult. Like I'm trying to melt the glue before I place it because I can't get my iron in there. Problem is, this doesn't want to sit flat, obviously, on the iron. Oh, what up, GR Chiap? Am I pronouncing that right? Just kidding. What up, GR? How are we doing, big dog? Happy New Year. GR, we're edge banding right now, but unfortunately, we have a very tricky little nook that this iron, this very high-end woodworking iron that I definitely didn't steal from my parents this morning, can't really reach to. So I have to heat it up like this and then try to smush it in there before the glue dries. But I can't really hold it down because if I do, A, I'll burn my fingers, and B, the glue will get on my fingers and not on the wood. So, GR, if you have any ideas, we could definitely use some help here. But you got to be quick because we're just going to do it this way in the next like 30 to 45 seconds here. I can see it. It's melting for sure. I don't know how long the dry time is on this. It feels very quick. So it's like you got to have the whole thing super hot. And I can tell when it has melted in the past, heat gun, that's a fantastic idea. I don't have one, actually. I was thinking about a lighter earlier, but I didn't want to like catch the wood on fire or have a burn mark or something. This worked decently for the first corner. I mean, if you can see, there's two corners it would have to do, right? Oh yeah, granite. Thank you. That's a great idea. Yeah, heat gun is the move. But I don't have one. Which is kind of, maybe I should get one. I've always just used a torch for times that I need a heat gun. But I suppose there are times like this right now. Lighter isn't worth. Yeah, definitely not worth. I mean, look, it's definitely activating. All right, gang. I think it's go time. The moment we put the heat down, we got to go, which is going to be tricky because we have such a long band. You know what I want to do? Shoot. Can I push this at all? Okay, hell yeah. Now I've got a little bit of an edge over there that I can kind of put the band on. All right. All right, we're going to try it. It's go time. Get in there. Oh, that's hot. That's good and hot. Ow. 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 Stick. Stick, damn it. Where the hell is my razor blade? Oh, it's over there. Okay. 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 All right. Put that up there. Because I can kind of get sort of in here. So I just need to make sure this deepest part is down as best as possible. All right. I think we're out of the worst of it. I'm trying to stay out of the way so you can see what I'm doing. Yeah, you can like kind of get it in there. But you just can't get all the way. That actually went better than the first time. I think I was just a little more patient this time. And we didn't make it perfectly flush with the top like we've been doing everywhere else. But we can fix that. Yeah, it's not perfect. I'm just very glad that, oh shoot, we're gonna have the same damn thing up here. Should I call this company and ask them to change their logo? Should I do that? Okay, we got a heat gun shout out. Hey GR, can you get Outer Woods a heat gun sponsorship? Tell them we're the biggest consumer of heat guns in North America. That's what we gotta make them believe to get a sweet sponsorship. Oh. I can't tell from a viewer standpoint, you guys will have to help me here, if this is a very soothing live video or an extremely boring one. I don't even know if I want to know the answer. And we are getting more pressed for time. I'm not going to lie to you. What do we think, chat? Do we think the children are back in school and traffic's going to be terrible? Or do we think that it's still kind of the holidays? Because my drive time home can be drastically different based on the answer to that question. Am I on? Yeah, I'm on. Feels like this is harder to happy viewer. That's what I'm talking about. It's all good. I appreciate it, ma'am. Something happened. Is that Nightbot? What up, Nightbot? Has he been yelling at everybody this whole time? Or is that his first go? Joe Mama thinks that they're coming. I don't know if that means they are in school and there's going to be traffic today, or we might be okay today, but they are coming soon. I don't know. It is wild, though, how much different my commute is based on if school is in session or not. It's really weird. This band right here. Oh, somehow I've turned this. How have I turned this cooler? Feels like it's harder to heat this up because instead of like having the iron on this big flat surface, I'm only touching it like on the tangent line. You know what I mean? For all my math nerds out there. I think it helped actually that I just turned it back up. Somehow I had turned it down. Am I overcooking it at this point? Okay. Oh, shit. What I do have to do is, unfortunately, I've got to get all of this over nothing so that I can all right. Unfortunately, it does look as if I'm going to be sitting above and below the surfaces for the remainder of this band. Are we still in frame? Yeah. For all the other ones, I was trying to do it to where we were flush on top. and then it had all the overhang of the edge banding on bottom. But it was a little harder to set this one. Oh, now we got some edge contact over here, gang. Now we're cooking it. Oh, easy, easy. I guess I could also, while I'm just sitting here doing this, recap what I'm making, because I don't know, what's it been, 2 hours? And I struggle to think that there would be many people who have been here the whole time. Oh man. So you might not know what I'm even making. I am making a logo for a company that's moving into a new office building in downtown Austin. Maybe you recognize the logo, maybe you don't. I don't know if I'm at liberty to say. I don't know why. I didn't sign anything. And I think they'd be happy to see how this is made. But yeah, making a big logo. We got a few tiny little gaps. They might close up once I cut off the excess and I can really kind of round over the corner. That's my hope. But yeah, we're making a big logo here, and I did not actually cut out this shape. I was originally going to, but the budget, as budgets do, kept decreasing and decreasing and decreasing, and it ended up making more sense for me to do this, to pay someone to cut this exact logo based on a file using a CNC machine, rather than me trying to cut it out by hand. And as I described earlier, that does mean that I made less money on the project, but if you consider how much more time it would have been in labor, that $500 was 100% worth it. So this is looking pretty good. Yeah, we stacked 2 pieces of plywood, but the thing is, you can see all the way. Great question, Granite. Also, Mary, hello, how are you doing? Anyone else? Have I missed anything? No, okay, cool. Granite, yeah, what's going on here? So the reason I'm using plywood, originally the company reached out, or someone on behalf of the company reached out and said, hey, we want a logo, make us something really cool, like really artistic. And the first thing that I presented to them was actually a live edge slab. And what I'm doing right now, gang, is I'm just cutting off a little bit of excess. Oh, shit. Let's go ahead and cut off the ends here. I wonder if I can get you a little closer to have a cooler view. Oh, yeah, that's a cooler view. Yeah. So originally, they said, hey, make us something artistic. Go crazy, Tanner. And I said, you want crazy? I'll give you crazy. And I basically presented them an idea where I would be making almost a live edge resin table. And then from that, I would cut this shape. So it would be this shape, but you'd have like cool resin rivers and like all sorts of neat pockets and interesting designs and stuff. And I don't know what they thought that would cost, but evidently it was less than what I presented. So then they said, hey, can you make it less expensive? So the next thing I offered was, instead of doing plywood, I actually offered to do solid lumber. Like, I would make a glue up first, planks of lumber, and then once all my planks of lumber were together, then I could, yeah, there's a little bit of a gap. We can close it. Once all the planks of lumber were together, then we could have cut out the same logo. And that is a higher general quality than plywood. 99, maybe not that high, maybe like, I don't know, 85% of the population probably wouldn't be able to tell you, like, looking at it, that this is plywood versus hardwood. But the sign of it is that plywood has, when you look at the side of it, you can see all of the layers of the ply. Whereas fine lumber, fine solid hardwood, it's just more wood. It's going to be the end grain of that wood. So the grain would be continuous as it wrapped over this edge. Whereas with the edge banding that I'm doing here, the grain that's going this way isn't the same way that the grain of the edge is going. And again, the vast, vast majority of the population would not even know to look at that. And if they did, they wouldn't. They probably wouldn't put it together that it's plywood. And then pretty much the entire population of the world, even the woodworkers, are going to look at this and just be like, yeah, that's a nice wooden logo. Like, they're not going to start being like, well, yeah, it's plywood though, because everything's going to look like walnut no matter what angle you look at it from. So anyway, that is the second thing I offered to them, but of course, still too expensive. So then I said, okay, that's cool. We can do plywood. And yeah, with plywood, you just have those interior layers that show on the edges. And that's why we were edge banding it. And the edge banding is unequivocally, I think, the hardest part of this project, especially taking into consideration that I did not hand cut the logo. Yeah, so to answer your question in a really long-winded way, it was cheaper, yeah. But I think it's a really, it's a good bang for your buck for sure. Like, it still looks really good. Like, it would take me a second. If I walked into a room with this piece, it would take me a second probably to realize that it's not wood. As in hard, like lumber. Can you see? Nope, you can't see at all. Yeah, that's a good spot right there. And so now I'm just cutting off the excess. And for the rest of all of the edges that I've done, easy. Oh, shit. I've only left excess on the bottom side, so I only have to cut this once. But because I had this weird corner in here, I accidentally left myself excess on both sides. But that's going to be pretty good now at this point. I'll come in and sand that. And I've got to do the same on the bottom. Let me see if I can get you a cooler view for the bottom. Sorry for the camera jiggling. That might be what we got. Okay, right now I know you're just looking at the ground. So I have, unfortunately, There we go. Cool. A dent in my tripod on the telescoping kind of height adjustment thing, and I've dented it. I was mad one day because something went poorly, and I threw something, and dented, I don't know, the tube, I guess, and so it doesn't go in and out smoothly. Ow. Come on. Come on. There we go. So can you see what I'm doing here? Just trying to remove the excess edge banding on bottom. See what I'm doing? There you go, now you can see it. It's tough though because this cutting board that I'm using, I have to like rotate it so it's always smushed up against the edge on the tangent line. And I got a new razor blade when I first started doing this, but I didn't want to take the time to put it into, where am I? I'm right here, okay. I didn't want to take the time to put it into the housing, and so my finger is just smashing on this thin piece of metal. It's not like on the blade, but the other side of the blade. Oh boy. Ow. Whoop. Ah. How did I start to get clients? Great question. So, wow, we're just about to hit 5 years in business, which is kind of cool. And I would say the first year or so, what I did is I made pieces that I thought were cool, and then I posted them to Facebook Marketplace. And if you know anything about Facebook Marketplace, you know that it is not the place, people are typically going there to find discounts, right? Ah! I just impaled myself. People are typically just going there to find discounted things or cheap or inexpensive things. So I was making, objectively, some really cool pieces. Maybe not the highest quality yet, just because, what the hell was that? I was still new in what I was doing. So I can admit that, I wasn't making elite pieces, but I was making pieces that at least had really unique designs, I think. Can you see anything there? Yeah, you can see a little more. Oh God, where's my razor blade? Am I sitting on it? Hey, chat. Here we are. I'm sitting on it. Oh, what up, Suyash? Good to see you, my man. Yeah, so anyway, I was making pieces that I thought were cool and selling them on Facebook Marketplace and making something probably close to like $4 or $5 an hour doing that. But what it did is it kind of established the proof of concept for the whole business. it did enable me to make a little bit of cash so that I could buy better tools. But the main thing that it did is I had now a portfolio of pictures. And with those portfolio of pictures, the next thing that started happening is that you started to get some kind of referrals or like word of mouth through the people you had sold through Facebook Marketplace. But I would say I started to establish myself even amongst like friends and friends of friends and family as someone who could hang and like make cool stuff. And if you ask probably anyone, like anyone, they will all have a piece that they want a new one of, whether that's a dining table, a coffee table, a cutting board, an end table, a bookshelf, outdoor seating, something. And when they start to know that you can make stuff, then they ask you if you can make stuff for them. And sure, it can get a little weird with like friends and family and stuff, but the key there was that I definitely was underselling my work, and maybe even not, because again, at the time I wasn't very good. Um, but in doing both of those things, you start to develop an actual portfolio of work. And the thing that really kind of launched it is, I'd say for probably 3 months, 4 months, 5 months, I don't know, something like that. I just started reaching out to 50 different interior designers and like office furnishing companies. And you could probably, you know what I didn't do, what you could do, and I actually want to do this now, is like furniture galleries. But yeah, once you actually have the chops and can show people that you can make stuff, then you call them. Well, yeah, you can email. Calling's, sometimes it can be scary. But I will say the one, I'm trying to untelescope my tripod here. Remember the dent? There was one interior design company that I called, and the line that I basically used was, hey, I was wondering what your process was like to start working with different makers, different local makers, things like that. Like, you ask them what their process is like rather than saying, you know, I want you to use my stuff. You just say, what's the process like? Whatever. It takes the pressure off of the call or the email, I can assure you that. But they're happy to tell you that. Like, they're happy to just say, here's what our process is like. And then from there you say, great, like, can I send you some pictures? And they're always gonna say, yes, you can send us some pictures. So I did. I sent pictures of the work from that portfolio of work to like 30, 40, 50 different entities. And what happens is that it's a real unlikely scenario that you will do that and someone immediately will be like, oh my God, this is fantastic. I have a piece that I need help with and I have no one that can do it, and you've reached out at the correct time. That just doesn't really happen. But if you do that with enough people and they kind of store your information, then eventually someone needs something. And that's what happened with me. It was like, I don't know, a couple months later, I had someone reach out and just say, hey, can you give us a quote for, it was a dining room table. And you just stack up more and more and more of those things. Another thing you can do to get clients that worked really well actually to kind of get to stage 2, you can make a Facebook Marketplace post where you put a bunch of pictures of the portfolio that you have and just say like $1 and say custom woodworking. And there'll be some idiots who are like, holy moly, that dining table is only $1, and then they'll get mad at you for posting $1. Most sensible people will be like, I see what you're trying to do, that's totally cool. And then you'll have some people who will reach out and they will be like, great, can you help me with this piece? So yeah, Facebook Marketplace post It's free advertising. You can even throw a little bit of money at it. Facebook has some cool like sliding scale ads that you can, like if you put $20, it'll get to like, I don't know, 4,000 people or something like that. And Facebook will know who to get it to. So I got a few projects from that. And I hate to say it, but the way that you get work at the beginning is you kind of oh, have I gone too deep, gang? I don't think I did. I was glue. Whoa, I thought I sanded through the veneer. At the beginning, it sucks, but just undercut everybody. Whatever. Like, I am, quite honestly, I'm just now, like in the last, I don't know, 6 months or so, getting to a place where I'm not trying to undercut everybody. Like, it's totally cool. Just undercut everybody. You won't get paid as well at the beginning, but you'd rather get paid worse than nothing, is my philosophy. Maybe a different philosophy would fast track you to having a more thriving woodworking business. But that's my long-winded explanation of how to get clients. The ultimate, and this is where I'm trying to get to, but not there, is when you can actually get out of the custom work and then you can start making things that you want to make and only you want to make, and you are good enough and big enough to where you can sell your thing that you're excited about and someone just inherently wants to buy it. I am finding that that's hard to do. At least how I've been going about it. I don't know. It could be easy if, like I was saying earlier, that I haven't really ever put in like a good solid effort to, that feels like it needs a little more heat. I haven't felt like I put in a good solid effort to get in to like a furniture showroom or something like that. Let's not get glue on my parents' iron, you know? And it could be that if you get into a furniture showroom early, then like they have already proven how to draw in customers that are directly looking for high-end pieces of furniture. So you don't have to be a salesman anymore, and you can just make something, and if they like you, and they're like, yeah, whatever you make, ooh, that's a little, yeah, it might be that you can make whatever you want, and as long as they like it, they'll always take it from you, and, you know, might be on consignment, and that means that you give it to them essentially for free, and then when it sells, you make your money. That's one way that it works. Or it can be on retail, which is the actual store effectively buys it from you at wholesale price, so you make money whether or not it sells at their store. Obviously, as the maker, you want it to be retail, so you get paid no matter what. And as the seller, furniture store, they would want it to be consignment, so that they have no risk. Okay, that feels decent. There's a question in here that's, why don't you trim your banding with a flush cut router bit and sand? I could definitely be doing that, at least for some of these. So here's probably the reason that I'm not doing that. For everyone else in the chat who might not know what all those words mean, all the excess edge banding that goes above and below this top and bottom surface, I had to cut that off with a razor blade. And there's another method you could use where you use a router, and it's got this cool bit, this attachment, where it's got a bearing that rides along a contour. So it would ride along these curves, and then there is a blade that cuts perfectly flush to wherever that bearing is riding on. And I know that that is a pretty common technique for trimming edge banding like this. The thing that made me not do it originally, and I might have just, I don't know, overlooked an easy way to do this, was that the orientation that you would have to have your router is, instead of riding on this nice big flat surface, you'd be riding your router on this really skinny surface right here. And I don't know, that felt difficult to do, so I didn't do it. Might have been the move. Could be the move, as they say. Man, this curved face is proving to be difficult to edge band. Like, I'm just getting these little kind of bubbles. I think we're going to be okay. I almost wonder if I should. Like, it's just not perfectly seated against this edge right here. And I don't know if I can just kind of like work it in. The good news is this is a wall hanging logo, and the part that is the kind of most wrinkled right now, which still isn't much, is it is on top, and that will be 10 feet in the air, but I wonder what I could do is make the tiniest little relief cuts, sand them down. You can hear it with your finger where the little pockets are. I think that'll help. Do you guys see what I did there? Just kind of, I don't know, just kind of like cut it so that it could fold over a little on itself. And it's on the very, very top, and I'll sand that to where you won't be able to see it at all. But that way, we have good contact everywhere. Over here, it gets a lot better. I've had this iron on for a really long time. Is that bad? Any seamstresses in the chat? I will say, when I do these live videos, like, mentally speaking, it's such a different, like, when I'm just working on a project by myself, my head is 100% on the project. And if it's not on the project, it's just kind of like, I don't know, bouncing around wherever my thoughts go. But when I have the live going, like, so much of my mental energy is going towards the live. Because, I want to make it interesting for you guys. And I have to check every once in a while to make sure, what up, Big Squee? Check to make sure that, nothing's going on in the chat and that the stream's still working and that my phone is at least somewhat charged. We are running out of charge, which could be our rate limiting step today. But anyway, it's like such a different mental game or like mental day when I do these lives. And so like I find myself when the live is over, I like exit the twilight zone and come back to reality. Big Squee, to answer your question, no, the wood was not wrinkled. I'm putting on edge banding to the outside of this logo right here. And it's this. And when I was wrapping it around this big long curve right here, just had a few little spots where, it just kind of bubbled up and wasn't perfect, just like perfect contact over the whole thing. But it's A-okay. We're good. And so now I'm just sanding it. This was definitely the hardest one. I will say this next one could be difficult as well. Oh, shit. I don't know how we're going to get the heat on the inside of that. We might have the same issue that we had for all of this. I know that once we get this one done, 1, 2, 3, 4, those are going to be super, super easy. I just don't know if A, we'll have enough time to finish it all, and then B, if my phone has enough charge. That's feeling fantastic, though. Get the underside. That's just to make sure that it doesn't like catch on anything. The underside no one's gonna see, so I'm not worried about accidentally sanding through the bottom ply. You just feel it to see where it's so kind of raised up. So yeah, this is the edge banding unequivocally is the longest and hardest part of this process, this whole project really. The only thing that might rival it is hanging this thing. Mostly because it's going to be in an office building. And as I found out on my first office installation, looking at the chat real fast, as I was doing my first office installation a few years back, I found out at the job site that office buildings, commercial buildings, are made with metal studs, not wooden studs. And so like I was finding the stud and I was trying to drill into it, and then my screw would just like smash into something and it wouldn't go, and then it would be really hard, it would kind of bite a little, and then it would just punch through it. And that was the thin metal studs that I was finding. But anyway, yeah. Commercial buildings have metal studs, and that could be a little tricky, but I do think the hardest part of this entire project is what I'm doing right now, the edge banding. And I wonder, like, I don't know, saying could I have gotten away with it has a bad connotation, but I wonder, like, I never told them, the hell? I never told them I was gonna edge band this thing. So they didn't know, and I told them it was gonna be plywood. And I don't know if they know woodworking, if they don't know woodworking, etc. So it's like, I wonder if I could have not edge banded it, showed up, put a finish on the big broad face, and you can see the plies, but oh well, they would have still been happy with that. I had never even considered that that was an option. Quite frankly, I was always going to do this. And for whoever, Granite? Was it Granite, if that's your name? For whoever was wondering, like, you know, how do you get clients? I think one general piece of advice I could give is, like, make sure you're kind of going above and beyond every time you make something, because all of those tiny little details add up, and that's why you can charge a higher number for a project that isn't that crazy. Like, if you do all the little details, but then you have the reputation of, like, yeah, every time this person makes something, they deliver, and there's nothing that people, like, notice about it that's wrong. I don't know, that's why it's worth more. And for a while, I remember essentially doing that and not getting paid to do that. Like, you work really hard on these details and no one's ever going to notice them, and you wonder if it's worth it. But then I hope there will come a time when it goes the other way, and then you're basically not having to work as hard, but you're getting paid harder, or you're getting paid more so than you're working, because you put in your time. If that makes any sense whatsoever. Maybe. Yeah, the edge banding looks fantastic. Like, it totally does. Like, it makes it look like the whole thing is actually just a piece of wood, rather than seeing all the plies in there. We're getting there. What time is it? 3:16. I have 17% battery. That's pretty good. We're going to keep rolling. We're going to keep rolling. Watch how fast this one's going to go. Okay. Because I'm going to make it flush with the top, so I won't have to cut any off the top. There's no curve, so the bottom's going to be easy. Oh boy. Oh boy. It moved on me. Ow, ow. Ow, that glue's so hot. He says, look how easy this one's going to go, and then proceeds to burn himself. Nah, it's going well. Can you see? Yeah, you can see. I'll get it closer after I get this thing glued on there. One tip on this for everyone who's going to be edge banding a giant letter M tomorrow. When you start getting some melting of the glue, if you pull too hard too quick, you can like move the end of it and you can leave a little gap. So just make sure that's dry before you start like kind of pulling it along. That's what was happening at the beginning when I had to grab it and pull it back the other way when the glue was still, get out of here, fly, when the glue was still melting. It's kind of satisfying, I suppose. If you were here earlier, you might have heard me complaining about how difficult cabinetry is. We're essentially kind of doing cabinetry right now in a weird way. We're using plywood, exact things. It's not, you know, solid hardwood through and through. So you got to edge band it. And I was complaining about how cabinetry's like, you're a good cabinet maker if you can get hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of details correct. And typically, not all the time, but typically, cabinet makers aren't getting their notoriety, I suppose, because their designs are revolutionary. They're getting their notoriety because their execution of simple, clean things is flawless. At least that's my interpretation of it, right? And I was saying how your boy is not built like that. So over the years, I have done cabinet projects, and my worst projects that I've ever delivered have been cabinet projects. And so I was saying that I tip my hat to cabinet makers because that's just a hard thing to do. But I was just saying there is some pleasure in executing simple, repetitive things very, very well. Where the hell did my razor blade go? It's probably on the ground. I'm just not able to see it. I suppose we'll get a new one. Where did that go? my block that I was cutting everything with, I found that. But I did not find the razor blade right next to it. All right, what do we got? Yeah, what is the letter / number we're looking at? This is a large letter M. It is the logo of the company. I'm sitting on the ground where there could be a razor blade. Where am I? Can you see me down here? I'm just cutting off that bottom little strip. It's so much easier when the dang thing's not curved. Cool. Look at that. So easy. Let me come up here. Okay. Let me cut this. Okay. Cool. Great. Gang, I do not think that we're going to get a finish on this today. I'm just being realistic with myself. That's okay, though. We're going to just keep going until we run out of time or until my phone dies, whichever's first. And when I'm doing this, I'm trying to kind of smush the edge banding like over and kind of close up any gap that I can. And I'm looking at it from the top, and you cannot see that they're two different things, which is pretty cool. Oh my God, the iron. Sorry, camera. That's terrible. Yeah, I'm just smoothing this over. And it feels really nice on top. The trick, as I've said a few times now, is you don't want to sand too aggressively because you have, I think in this case, I was looking at it, the walnut veneer on this thing, it's like, I think it's a 32nd of an inch thick. It could even be a 64th of an inch thick. That seems kind of ridiculous. It is not a 16th. I can tell you that. It's super, super thin. So if you got too aggressive on the sanding, you can easily sand through that veneer, and now you're left with some junk wood, whatever's the next layer underneath it. And I was looking, and it does not look as if the next layer is dark. So it would stand out really badly. So just being careful with that. Oh, my razor blade, it's over there. Just got this little corner to knock out. Bang. Nice. Sand that. I think that the finish that I put on this, which will probably happen tomorrow, is going to help all of the edge banding just to kind of stay hunkered down. Okay. After I do this one, I'm going to take a drink of water. How long have we been? 188 minutes. Wow, that's a long stream. You know what, gang? We might actually, after this one, I'll show you the piece. I'll give you some close-ups. We might call it there, actually. Because I had a couple of things I needed to do today that won't be interesting at all to look at. So, kind of want to knock those out. But we can do another live tomorrow where I will actually finish this piece. And it's going to look really nice. Walnut plywood's gorgeous. Because you get like repeating features just from the way that plywood is made. But then particularly walnut. Its grain characteristics kind of set it up to be a really pretty plywood. Okay. That feels very nice. All right, let me show you around. Then we're going to call it. How many people are here? 20? Right on. Check it out. So from the top, this is what the logo looks like. Pretty cool, right? It's a nice logo. Oh my God, I just gave myself a panic attack. All right, it's supposed to go in one direction and you guys are mirrored. So I was like, oh my God, I did it the wrong direction. We're okay. All right, so this is what it looks like when you do not edge band it. So you can see all of those layers, right? which doesn't look terrible, but it takes you out of the magic. On the other hand, that is what it looks like with the edge banding. And it's going to be even more prominent. Like, this is light colored wood. This is going to be dark. So it's going to look really, really nice when you put a finish on this entire thing, and it just looks like one massive block of wood. I'm really happy with how this corner went, actually, for how tricky that was. I'm hoping that when we put some Rubio Monocoat on this, it's just going to help fill in the little holes. I mean, that looks perfect. No one's going to ever have an issue with that, but it looks really, really nice. So I'm happy with what we did. We're going to call it there. We got Squee doing some sort of emoji. GR with peach emoji. We're just going to let the chat interpret what that means. Yeah, thank you guys very much for hanging in there for that whole live video. I do want to do a lot more of them, and what I also want to do is I want to get really consistent about when they're going to be so that people can expect them and we can start, I don't know, getting a rhythm with it, having a community around it, asking questions, telling stories, the likes. But yeah, we'll do one tomorrow. Thank you, GR. I appreciate that. We'll do one tomorrow when we finish this thing. There it is. Check out the, hey, much love, Joe Mama. Check out the merch store. These hats are dope. There's other things, sweaters, shirts. I was wearing one of the sweaters on this vacation that I just went on the last few weeks, and they were very warm, very comfortable. It was an airport shirt, which tells you all you need to know. You can only wear a comfortable airport shirt. But anyway, yeah, coffee mugs too. Load up. Freaking load up, gang. Yeah, Texas Hill Country out here. See you guys tomorrow. Thanks again, everybody. Oh yeah, GR, the hats are dope. Thanks, bud. See you guys.